What if your liver is filling with fat, even if you rarely drink alcohol? What if the same forces driving diabetes and heart disease are silently overwhelming one of your most important organs? Fatty liver disease often has no symptoms until damage is advanced. Today, we break down how metabolic overload turns into liver injury. The liver is a metabolic control center. It processes nutrients, regulates blood sugar, synthesizes cholesterol, detoxifies compounds, and packages fats for transport. It constantly balances incoming energy with outgoing needs, but when energy input chronically exceeds demand, the liver becomes a storage site, and storage has limits. Fat can accumulate in the liver through multiple pathways. Dietary fat delivered from the bloodstream, free fatty acids released from visceral fat stores, and a process called de novo lipogenesis, where excess carbohydrates are converted into fat within the liver itself. When insulin levels remain elevated, often due to insulin resistance, fat synthesis increases. Fat export may not keep pace. Droplets begin accumulating inside liver cells. This condition is often called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. As liver fat increases, insulin signaling becomes impaired. The liver continues producing glucose even when it shouldn't. Blood sugar rises. The pancreas releases more insulin. Higher insulin further promotes fat storage in the liver. A self-reinforcing loop forms. Insulin resistance leads to liver fat. Liver fat worsens insulin resistance. Simple fat accumulation is only the first stage. In some individuals, excess fat triggers inflammation. Oxidative stress increases. Immune cells infiltrate liver tissue. This condition, often referred to as steatohepatitis, represents a shift from storage to injury. Not everyone with fatty liver progresses, but when inflammation persists, risk escalates. Chronic inflammation can stimulate fibrosis, the deposition of scar tissue. Scar tissue stiffens the liver. Healthy tissue is gradually replaced. If fibrosis advances extensively, cirrhosis may develop. At this stage, liver function becomes severely compromised. The progression from fat to fibrosis can take years, and it often remains silent. Risk factors overlap strongly with metabolic syndrome, obesity, especially visceral fat, type 2 diabetes, insulin resistance, elevated triglycerides, sedentary lifestyle. Even individuals with normal body weight can develop fatty liver if metabolic dysfunction is present. It is not purely a weight issue, it is a metabolic issue. The liver has remarkable regenerative capacity. Reductions in visceral fat often correspond with reductions in liver fat. Improving insulin sensitivity can decrease de novo lipogenesis. Weight loss, even modest amounts, has been associated with improvements in liver fat content. Physical activity enhances fat oxidation. When metabolic overload decreases, the liver often responds. Notice the recurring pattern across diseases: excess energy, insulin resistance, inflammation, vascular stress. The liver sits at the center of metabolic traffic. When upstream systems overload, the liver absorbs the impact. Fatty liver is not an isolated disorder. It is a signal of systemic imbalance. Fatty liver disease often develops quietly. There is no pain receptor inside liver tissue, no early warning siren. But inside hepatocytes, fat accumulates. Insulin signaling falters. Inflammation may ignite. Scar tissue may follow. The liver is resilient, but resilience has limits. Reducing metabolic overload changes the equation. Improving insulin sensitivity interrupts the cycle. Lowering visceral fat decreases fatty acid influx. Stabilizing blood sugar reduces fat synthesis. The same systemic drivers behind diabetes and cardiovascular disease influence liver health. When inputs shift, outcomes can shift. In the next episode, we move to lung disease, exploring how inflammation and oxidative stress affect respiratory health beyond smoking alone. If you value deep, system-level health insight, subscribe to BookBite's Guru, because metabolic health shapes every organ it touches.